me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Kiddo Cave, and welcome to this last day of the year. Happy end of 2019 to everyone out there. Happy 2020, almost there, my friends. And we got a lot to talk about, a lot of exciting things actually on good old Bitcoin land. We did come down and fill the gap that we spoke about yesterday. So now the next sort of trade, perhaps idea emerges. And with that said, a lot of focus going to be on actually the lower time frames today, funnily enough, as typically don't give them too much credence, but they are really starting to show a few potential major signals, I do think. Anyways, before we get into that, I want to apologize for being a little bit late today, taking my own dump, dumping all of the Christmas goodies into the Super Bowl. It was fucking good though, man. Much needed, and feeling much lighter now, about 10 pounds lighter. But unfortunately, I will not be doing a Twitch stream this morning. I'll do one definitely later tonight. Want to soak in all of 2019 before it ends, and it'll be it'll be at the same time, same place. Of course, link is in the description of this video for the Twitch channel, and we've been going live there every day, usually twice a day actually. So definitely join on into the fun. It's been a really cool community being built over there, really small and kind of intimate, which I really like, which I really enjoy, because you get to feel like you get to know everyone. And in the discussion, it's just fun, man. It's what it is, just fucking fun. So I want to say massive thank you to everyone who's been coming out, because it's been amazing, really. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? I suppose this is the time where I start to show myself. All the programs are on sale for 20% off with the code. Sorry, no code. No code is needed. You don't need any code. It's 20% off. No code's needed. And that goes for another 2 days and 16 hours, as the timer does imply. So I do always want to say that, hey, make sure that these are a good fit for you first if you are considering investing in one of these. For most people, it's not going to be reasonable. It is a massive financial commitment and also a massive time commitment. These are really designed for people who want to do this in a more serious manner. Usually as someone who wants to do this as a living. So that's who it was designed in mind for. Of course, not everyone who's in it is of that same mindset, but you will be joining the Discord community, the members Discord community, and I want to make sure that everyone's kind of coming from the same mindset there as who you surround yourself, the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most, you are the average of. It's kind of a backward saying of that fucking quote, but you get my point. As always, take advantage of the free content first. There's a TA 101 playlist. There's literally over 1,200 videos, usually more than 1 hour, and most of them are probably on average about 2 to 3 hours long. So take advantage of those first before you do consider investing in one of these, because it's likely that you'll either find your answers in there, or you'll find out that this isn't for you and you don't want to do this, and that's all well and good, and that's completely fine. Anyways, with that said, the TA program, this guy right here, this is the all-encompassing one. So if you are of the opinion, if you are of the mindset that this is for you, this is probably the one that's most applicable, as it is all-encompassing. It goes from start to finish, from not just understanding technical analysis, which is a humongous portion of it, but also position management, risk management, understanding underlying market dynamics, access to a couple proprietary indicators, access to the members Discord community, and then a shit ton of bonus modules. It's literally over 35 hours long. Please make sure that you have the time to invest in it, because if you do not have the time to invest in it, and realistically it's meant to be viewed multiple times over your career, over the next few years, really. You need to make sure that you have enough time for it to actually make the most out of it. Otherwise, there's no real point. Again, and same thing for the Master Your Options program right here. Master Your Options, the options program, is literally just focused on the derivative products options. So if you don't already have your TA down, I would say that the options program, you can do it, you could do it, but it is assumed, and you'll get a lot more out of it if you even just understand a very, very basic amount of TA. So yeah, you're probably wondering why my camera's all weird right now. Well, it's because my fucking standing desk broke, which I'm really unhappy about. So I'll be trying to fix that a little bit later today, but we'll see. It looks like the power supply is dead, so perhaps just need to get a new power supply, which should be easy enough, I'm hoping. Anyways, what else do we want to get into? Oh yeah, Jackie's psychology group is now open for sign up. The link's in the description of this video as well. It's a little bit further down, but definitely go check out the video that I did with Jackie, a couple of videos that I did with Jackie, as that'll give you a good idea if that's for you. The group is only going to be 5 people big, 5 people wide, it's only going to have 5 people in it. That's what I'm trying to say. There you go. And it starts at the end of the first week of January. So I think that's about it for what I want to speak about. I'm sure that I'll forget all sorts of things and they'll pop up during the actual video itself. But with that said, let's get into the actual live scene right here, talk about some goddamn Magic and money, and see what's going on. So yesterday we did see the highest time frame closing was a 2-day. We did close above the 10 simple, but obviously rejection of the 21 exponential moving average right here. And what does this tell us? It actually doesn't tell us too much from what I think a lot of people are looking at, which is the 10 simple, which yes, you would expect a little bit of bounce here, but overall the greater range, and I want to start off with this, the greater range is still pretty much set. Nothing's changed on that regard. Only the lower time frames are changed right now, and the higher time frames, I'll briefly go over them right here. If you're bullish, you're looking, let's actually start off with the bearishness first, because that should be, that's been par for the course. I mean, it's been a fucking downturn over here. So let's decide the bearish case first. Anyways, bears are looking at it like this. They're looking at it as a descending triangle. Now this chart is getting massively convoluted here, but I'll leave it in. But basically, descending triangle coming in this area right here. Let me actually just draw it in really, really quickly. Here we go. There's your nice little triangle. And this descending triangle would have a bottom side support somewhere right around about 6,900, a little bit below there. Any sort of a 12-hour, but preferably daily or 2-day deal to close below there. And yes, it would initiate a measure move all the way down here towards low 6,000, 6,100 to 6,200. As I adjust my seat, God, man, this fucking sitting sucks. Sitting is just the worst. Fucking hell, man. Can barely see me. That's how short I am. Anyways, now you know why I need a standing desk. Yes, if we do breach 6,900, especially on a higher time frame close, I would be targeting to move towards the lower 6,000 region. This would also be in line with our bottom side support of this falling channel that we've been in for the last 6 or so months, ever since June. Essentially, the high of $14,000 was put in. This is also very relevant because you can imagine that this triangle right here does have an apex somewhere around, early to mid-January, probably after like the first week to the second week of January, which does imply that it's very, very likely to break somewhere right around here. And if it is very, very likely to break somewhere right around here, when it's about 75% full, statistically speaking, that is very, very likely, then that would, again, throw that measure move right in line with the bottom side of this, bottom side support on that date. So, yeah, of course, this is a downtrend, and Bitcoin's, been heavily down, especially on all time frames that matter. So theoretically speaking, should be more bearish than bullish here. Anyways, taking it all back, or sorry, actually, let's look at momentum oscillators right here as well. Do we have any sort of? Let me get rid of this guy for now. Do we have any sort of hidden bearish divergence to be aware of here? You typically do get that. No, we do not actually. In fact, the hidden bearish that we did have present did already kind of resolve itself all the way from 7,700 down to the 200 simple right here, which was about 7,050-ish region. So yeah, about $600 move. I do believe that we can say that one has been fulfilled. And right now we are more or less neutral, looking at 2-day RSI. Don't really have too much to be made off this. It is more bearish than bullish, of course. Looking at 2-day historical volatility percentile, we are absolutely crushed here, and we will be looking for expansion, which is telling us that the resolution of this channel is going to be extremely violent. So typically, contrary to the trend here, which is down, typically falling channels actually do break out to the upside. Again, statistically speaking, not always, but statistically speaking, that is going to be more right than wrong over a long period of time. So it doesn't imply a time component of a breakout, of a resolution, but looking at both the volume signature and also volatility on our higher time frames, we can say that this is probably likely to happen sometime later in January, maybe early February. I'd say. Remember, this is a 2-day, so it takes some time to actually play itself out. But I would be expecting expansion somewhere around here. Somewhere around here, we should be getting extremely low in that. Yeah, that would be about around late January, most likely. At the earliest. So, all these things are starting to line up with each other, which I really do like, and that's typically when the biggest edge plays do kind of reveal themselves. And of course, let's also talk about what the bulls are looking at. The bulls are looking at this as some sort of a descending broadening wedge, which is valid as well. However, as a descending broadening wedge, which typically do break out to the upside and does have a measure move towards 84 to 8,500-ish region, this blue box territory right here, I need to see a daily total close above the last prior high, which in this case would be right around about 75.50, preferably on a daily. 12-hour could probably do it as well. But one of those likely good enough. I would be looking for a short-term pullback somewhere right around here, around 7,800 to 7,900 region. But ultimately, I would be looking for it to pop back up to this blue box territory right here, which, funnily enough, would basically bring us to the top side of our long-term downtrend resistance. So a lot of things to be aware of in this region, as the next move is likely to be quite nasty, both to the upside and the downside. We're looking at likely $1,000 move from this price point. A little bit more than $1,000 move actually from this price point. Now here's the thing with the daily. I mean, the daily is actually a lot more bearish than bullish right here. Of course, daily just faded the 21 exponential moving average once again, and you'll notice that the last few weeks, actually not just the last few weeks, but the last few months, ever since we really started to initiate a more intense downtrend from the $9,000 level right here, the 21 exponential moving average on the daily has been the selling territory, and we've actually never really closed any dailies above it. Yes, we do have a couple examples right here and right here, but these were all on weekends. These were on weekends, which weekend price action is typically contrary to the week's direction, which the week's direction is usually the real direction, as that is when the professionals are trading. That's when CMEs are open. That's when GBTC is open. That's when most people are at their battle stations, doing their business. Over the weekends, typically, the algos kind of take over, and I personally speaking, I think that is mostly just stop hunting and forcing people out of their positions and presenting the illusions of an opposite direction. Anyways, in this case right here, once again, we see the same thing. We clear the 21, get an open and close on, what was this, Saturday, I believe it was. And the week before that, same thing right on over here. And of course, going all the way back to the beginning of our downfall. I mean, you can even kind of trace it back on over here. The 21 on the daily has been essentially the governor as far as the real price action goes. And as we're looking at it right here, we do see that daily Stokes are kind of in limbo. They're kind of in limbo. So if we do close today's daily total, let's call it above 7,300, I would be looking for it to open back up, and I'd be looking for another retest of likely around 7,600 actually. If we do end below, especially 7,200, but even 7,250 is like pretty bad, I think as well. I'd be looking for another move back down to the low side of the range, probably 7,100-ish region. That's where things get nasty once again. But as I said, mostly the higher time frames are unchanged here. Everything that we've been saying for the last few days still pretty much applies. What I do want to focus on now is the lower term timeframes, as they are showing a few interesting things. So going through it right now, starting off with the 4 hour, we do see that 4 hour Stokes coming all the way down, starting to curl around a little bit, so getting weakened. But let's see if we can find some sort of agreement within the market. 3 hour Stokes already starting to curl back up. These have been pretty damn good at getting the overall moves, especially when it's in line with the overall trend, which this would be counted, to be fair. 2 hours coming from the same area as well, so I do like that read. These are typically the reads that I like to take, and hourly doing the same thing as well. So if we do kind of extrapolate this a little bit further, I would say that yes, Bitcoin, even on a lower time frame here, is in a descending triangle. That is more bearish than bullish, of course. But if we can get even as much of as like an hourly total close back above this last little prior high right here, about 7,250, even just trade above there, I do think that we're going to see all momentum all sort of switch back around. This is going to be a little bit of a trappy trap for all the people looking at a lower time frame. And we'll probably work our way back up to like 7,350, 7,400-ish region. And at that point, I do think that with the daily close above there, we'll get extension over the next few days back up to meet this trend line once again, which is somewhere probably around 7,600 if I had to pester a gander right now. This trend line been getting all of our highs as of recent times. It doesn't really look all that clinical on the daily right there, but I must have made it on 12 hour, and yes, I did. And yeah, accurately getting all of our highs extremely well. So that would be coming in once again, actually 7,500. That would be no change in even in trend, even on like a 12 hour, even on lower time frames. But I do believe that it would set it up for the higher time frames to get extension to those next critical levels, and then we can actually have something different going on. So again, remember how all these time frames are related. 7,550 on a daily total close, I look for extension at the very least to like 78, 7,900, and probably realistically the measured move does bring us up to 8,500-ish region, give or take. And I do believe that likely would happen, and we kind of test the top side of the long-term downturn resistance. That wouldn't change the long-term trend to be 100% direct. It would not change the long-term trend. Really, the long-term trend does not even change until we make a higher high above this last little stutter step at 9,500, which is the weekly trend essentially. So weekly trend on Bitcoin has been the governor, since the eternity of eternity. By the same token, and now we're going to take this again, keep in mind what we're saying here, because we need to go both ways. If this is a descending triangle, which right now it is, it does work out as one, and we do initiate the downside of it, which we can make a measured move off of it. That would be bringing us back down to about 7160-ish region, which, do we look for another bouncer or not? I believe that we'd actually be breaking some pretty major structural things. And what I mean by that is this area right here no longer looks like a nice base. It'd just be looking very nasty. And it looked like it wants to melt down. And the thing with this is that on the higher time frames, what this can lead on to, I really expect things to actually hold here if we are going to reverse back up to the upside in the lower term timeframes, which the lower term momentum oscillators are suggesting a little bit more likely than not. So if I did have to call it right now, I do actually think that happens. But the reason why I'm kind of laying this out a little bit more long-handedly is because if we do go below that critical level, if we actually do resolve the descending triangle to the downside, that's going to put us in danger of taking out last week's low, which was 70.50 on stamps, 70.60 on Mexico, anywhere around there. The reason why that is significant is because that has another avalanche of effects leading us onwards and further downwards, as remember that we actually do have potential hidden bearish divergence in play on the weekly right here between this point and this point. This high and this high is what I'm referring to. And if we do take out that last week's low, I would be looking for another move down to the low side of the range, which in this case would be actually quite nasty, probably somewhere around 6,800, and that would be a more conservative estimate. I actually do think that it'd be a little bit more likely we work our way down to like 6,600-ish region. I mean, it's still within $100, but you get the idea. That is why it is significant right here, because that starts to really break the greater picture, which we looked at earlier, which was looking at this as a descending triangle. And so if we do actually get back down below 6,800, this is going to look like resolution of a descending triangle, and then we can take another measured move from that one, as we already did before. And I'll be looking for a move all the way down here towards low 6,000, 6,100, 6,200. So a lot of things to be aware of here, because the next big play is looming. I still think that we're probably like another week or two away from it. But those are the critical areas and how they all relate to each other. And again, looking at momentum oscillators, it does look like we want to probably test a little bit more upside before downside in the very low term timeframes. But remember, nothing changes even as far as like a low time frame until we get back above, at the very least, 75.50 on preferably a higher time frame closing. We can go look at expected moves chart and kind of come up with probabilities of this happening. And it does look like, wow, actually this is kind of nasty right here. In fact, okay, so first standard deviation is showing that the bottom side would actually be below that critical last week low. It would actually be right around 70.20. So it is more likely right now that we actually do initiate the downside. The top side of the first standard deviation is coming in right around 74.50-ish region, which would suggest that, well, that's still below, that's still a declining top. If we were to pop back up there and reject from there. Now, of course, Bitcoin can get above that level. It's just the probability of it happening would literally be less than 16% to one side. And in fact, for the critical range of about 75.50, if we were to kind of eyeball it, it'd be somewhere right around here, right? That'd be literally in between the first and second standard deviation. So that's between a 16% chance and like a 2.5% chance, I believe it is. So less than a 10% chance, I believe, something like that. I think a 9% chance, if I had to do some quick mental maths, that we actually do initiate the upside from here. But that's only for today. That's only for a one-day trading period. So obviously these things change, just like that, and the market's probably not going to be decided today anyways. So I do think that more likely than anything, we're just going to go sideways within this region. But technically speaking, from a statistical standpoint, we would actually be looking at more downside from here, and that would actually directly destroy, if we even did fill at the bottom side of this range, a lot of major things, not just take out last week's low, which would initiate hidden bearish divergence, bring us back down to the downside of the range, but which would also have another effect of resolving the descending triangle to the downside on our higher time frames, which would have another avalanche effect, bringing us likely down to a target of 61 to 6200. So yeah, for full disclosure though, I don't think that either one of those things happens today. I think that we still have to probably wait until somewhere around this region right here, which is going to be around end of first week, second week of January, and then we'll probably have a direction chosen. In fact, I'm going to let me put another blue box for this guy right here. There we go. So these are the two big areas that I'll be looking for probably later in the month of January. Also, volume signature on this whole formation still starting to fall off, and that is getting to a critical point as well. Again, this one's actually suggesting that we probably do see resolution sooner rather than later. I mean, shit, man. Even if you're looking at one from a more proximal time, it's about the same essentially. It'd be the same slope. So yeah, apex in early February. So again, very very likely looking at resolution, probably end of first week January. So for the big move, for now though, still just kind of holding within this region. Of course, trend is all down on all time frames that matter. And again, weekly trend has governed Bitcoin for the eternity of eternity as getting all the major moves. Anytime that we've had a weekly reversal, those are your 1,000+% moves to the upside, and your sometimes hundreds and 70% moves to the downside as Bitcoin typically likes to play out. So we do see some nasty things going on here. I mean, I do look at this chart as more bearish than bullish on the whole, but Jesus Christ, man. I mean, this looks pretty nasty here, to be fair. Looking at the red 10 symbol crossing below the yellow 21 exponential moving average, which is actually now crossing below the 55. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. It usually is. I mean, the party's usually over as soon as the 10 symbol crosses to the downside of the yellow 21. But once the 10 symbol crosses the downside of the 55, I mean, that's taken to level 2, historically speaking. So all three of those components do matter from a weekly, but let's focus on a little bit more tangible things for now. Let's go check out what historical volatility percentile is looking like on the lower time frames. Crushed, absolutely crushed. And I do think that, we're still contracting here a little bit, but you can imagine that if you were to draw kind of a little bit of a trend line here, we do see it come to a critical point. Again, first week of January, it looks like, so we probably are looking for a move within that region. And anytime the 4-hour historical volatility percentile has gotten very, very low, we've seen massive moves, usually $500,000 plus moves, something like that is what we're looking for. I'd imagine 3-hour is also contracting as well. It's actually already at a fucking zero read. So, this could actually even happen this could even happen today. Although looking at the 2-hour, I'd say that is less likely. You can see that we're still contracting over the long period of time. If we were to draw a regression right here, you could kind of see that it would still be extended somewhere, having an apex, early February it looks like, which implies a resolution somewhere right around here. So I do like the confluences there between that and the higher time frames, and same thing with the hourly, same thing with the 4-hour. And if we were to go over to like the 12-hour as well, I'd imagine that we probably are seeing some pretty heavy. No, we are not seeing traction here, actually. Weird. What was the time frame I was looking at yesterday? Was it the 10-hour? The 10 hours contracting, so maybe the 12 hours just having a one-off. It looks like it's putting in these one-off humps, but not really getting too much from that, actually. So that one may be the odd man out. Daily showing an obvious trend as well. Downtrending the whole way through, coming at an apex or actually longer term all the way on over here, which would be halfway through 2020. But that's obviously a longer term thing, of course. So looking at a big move, probably end of first quarter, I'd imagine, is when that becomes extremely likely. Anyways, let's go check out CMEs. How did they do yesterday? I haven't really looked at them just yet. Taking my own dumps has stopped me from that. And of course, CMEs do not trade on the weekend. So by not trading on the weekend, we can actually get a clear read of what the 21 has been doing pretty much the whole time. And as you can see, we've got no closes above the 21 on CMEs here. No closes at all. In fact, a lot of fake outs alongside of it. But of course, there's a couple things going on right here. Are we setting in a higher low on the 10 simple once again? And if we are, then I'd be targeting to move towards like 7,600 on spot, because this has about $100 premium right now, or actually no, more like a $50 premium, so probably like 7,650 perhaps. If we do actually set in a higher low here. Daily Stokes looking good. Daily RSI not looking good. Daily RSI very much not looking good actually. But again, it's I need to see levels taken out right now. I'm going level by level, not trying to do too much 3D chess in this region. You can see that the 4 hours showing very obvious resistance right around about 7,500ish region. Again, that would be stopping us from even getting a higher high on a lower time frame. So even then, there's still heavy pressure down here. And we actually do see kind of like a soft sell signal on the 4-hour jewel right here. Not perfect or anything like that, but operating in the same vein. We do see 4-hour Stokes coming way down. Holy shit, man. This could actually get very nasty. 3-hour Stokes coming down. 2-hour Stokes down. Hourly up. A little bit of bifurcation, but for the most part, the consensus would be down for the lower time frame. So we are seeing a complete difference between that and spot price action right now. Looking at historical volatility percentile, we are very low on the lower time frames, and the lower time frames on CMEs are going to get this actually a lot better than spot. We actually probably do see a decent move today, whether it's to bottom side of the range, somewhere around 71, 70, 50-ish region, or it's top side of the range at 7,500. actually kind of likely. Anyways, let's go check out, and this is one of the few times that I'll say this, well, let's go check out some of the shitcoins, the top shitcoins, and see if they are having any sort of a bias right now with price action, and take things from there. Looking at Mr. Butyrol, this looks like a rejection of the 21. If we take out yesterday's low, which was 130.56, I do believe this is going to be yet again another lower high on the macro. The 21 getting it perfectly the whole way through. All you've had to do is just short the 21. We do see that daily stocks are up. We do see that daily RSI is not really telling us too much. It is more on the bear side than bull side, but I don't really make too much off of that right now. But yeah, this one offers up a pretty damn easy way to trade it. Do we take out the high or the low of the previous dildo first? Do we take out the low first? Well, at the very least, I'd be looking for a move down to like 129.5, but probably this crumbles back down to the low side of the range. I mean, this is kind of a rising channel now, isn't it? On the lower time frames. I believe I already have it in there. Yes, indeed, I do. Let me get rid of this. That is nonsense right now. Well, it's no longer relevant is what it is. We can get rid of this as well. And yes, we do have a little bit of a rising channel going on right here, which I could probably do a little bit of a better drawing now, can I? So yeah, looking at the lower time frames, though, it does look like it wants to pop back up, though, to be fair. What about Mrs. Litecoin? What is Mrs. Litecoin doing? Looks very similar to Mr. Butyrol, and same sort of rejection that we see from yesterday, and same sort of play here. Whether we take out the top side or the bottom side of this prior daily dolo first, that's probably going to be our next big direction. To the downside, I'd look for a move down here, 40.25. To the upside, I'd look for a move likely up here, actually, towards like $46. Let's go check out traditional marks really quick. 321 pullback. This is very, 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 very common to see actually on the first week of a new year. In fact, I'd probably be looking for this to pull back further into this week, maybe as much as the 21, somewhere down around like 318. I don't really have any like major concerns with this, especially as long as we're above the daily 21. But I do think that is kind of likely we pull back there, maybe even further than that. It wouldn't be too crazy to come back down to 315 either. Longer term though, this is pretty damn good, and I don't think that we're reversing here. I do think that we're just having a short-term down. Those would be the two areas that I want to be interested in. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'll probably be looking for a bounce in those areas. Anyways, what else we got, baby? What else we got? Let's go check out some gold. Some gold analysis. Gold looking good. Gold taking another leg up here, getting that continuation that we spoke about. In fact, even hit our secondary target. Wait, no. It has not hit in our secondary target just yet, but the secondary target is 1533 region. We hit our first target, obviously 1515, but I do believe that we're going to get some more extension here. This is looking very good. I'm bullish on gold, which means I'm probably bullish on silver as well. And I do think that longer term, we're going to work our way into this blue box territory here, which is like 1600-ish region. The reason why this is relevant to Bitcoin, though, is because Bitcoin, it does seem to be correlated with Bitcoin and gold seem to be correlated with each other on the longer term trends. They do seem to mirror each other, which is verified by the correlation coefficient right here, which I keep on fucking up to put on, but there we go. And you do see in the purple histogram that they're actually positively correlated right now, although the correlation is diminishing as you'd expect because Bitcoin's on the lows and gold is rallying right now and actually having a little bit of a breakout, not a little bit of a breakout, but a pretty impressive breakout. And I do think that, longer term, this does bode well for Bitcoin. It does suggest that we probably do work our way out of this current hole that Bitcoin's in and try some upside from this region. In fact, you even see the same sort of long-term falling channel right here on gold that you do see on Bitcoin, of course. So that is a little bit more confidence inducing. I'd say that's another kind of point in the bull's court. But at the end of the day, you got to trade what's in front of you, or at least that's what I would say. And if Bitcoin breaks down here, I will be very, very bearish. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still major targets into the mid 5,000s, even mid 4,000s, if this continues to fall apart here. So as it stands right now. If you did get that next move down, not only I forgot to talk about this, but not only do we have the bottom side support of this falling channel right here, not only do we have the measure move off the descending triangle right here, not only do we have a divergence play as well, but if you do look at this, we have our 2018 historical horizontal support coming in from low 6,000-ish region, and also the last of the higher value nodes before a complete free fall into the 5,000s. So. Yeah, again, just another thing kind of lining up with that. But for right now, I actually, if I had to call it right now, we did fill the gap on CME from over the weekend. This is a gap fill right here. I would be looking for a rally off this level, probably a rally back to like 7,400-ish region. And remember, that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything for the higher time frame. It doesn't do anything, but it's kind of a nice play and a very easy way to be managing risk. Just take the low side of that last spike low, which was 72.15 on CME's on spot price action. It was 70, 71, 75 region on stamp. Yeah. So as long as we're above there, I do think that we probably rally off this base. How high does the rally get? I think 74, 7,500 probably, probably within the cards. And then from there, have to rejudge, because remember, the higher time frames do not change as long as we are below 75.50 or above, especially 70.50. But you could even say like 7,100, 7,150-ish region, I'd say. So yeah, as long as we're within this region, yeah, I do think that we probably pop back up here short term. Doesn't do anything for the higher time frames. Higher time frames will take more time, so to speak, to resolve themselves. Anyway, we're already 30 minutes into this baby. I think I just have a few more things to say. Bitcoin VWAP ratio still heavily bearish, still very fucking bearish. Concerning, very, very concerning long term. What else did I want to look at? There's a few other things that I'm forgetting right now, but god damn it, man. Jesus Christ. Anyways, let's go look at Bitcoin dominance really quick. I believe we got this to work on Twitch last night, and I do remember that long term I'd still be massively bullish on it. Short term probably does have a pullback here, or does it? Hold on, let's go to daily for a second. No, I'd actually be looking for a bounce up here. Longer term, I'm still massively bullish on it. Shorter, medium term, sideways slightly up. Longer term, massively bullish back up to the prior high and probably beyond, which means that most alts are going to get boo-caked once again versus Satoshis. Anyways, and that would also kind of be indicative of a little bit more of downside on Bitcoin spot price action, I would imagine, because, well, that's going to hit alts a little bit more. However, at the end of the day, Bitcoin going up or going down is typically bad for alts anyways, until Bitcoin's like fully and formally topped out on like a full-on market cycle, which is not what altcoin hodlers want to hear, but it's truth. Anyways, let's do one more thing. Let's go look at the total market cap for crypto. Looks droopy as fuck. It looks nasty. Very correlated with the price of Bitcoin, because it probably makes up the majority of this calculation. Weekly Stokes are up. In fact, I didn't really check out the higher time frame Stokes for these time frames. Still got this rising trend line right here governing our lows. I like that one. So another point on the bull side. What about the 3-day? 3 days opening up and gaining momentum. Another point on the bull side. 2-day is losing momentum right around the bullish control zone. Not the best. Daily is in limbo, and I'd imagine that the next close does accurately get it. So I still think that we're probably going to be range bound for today, but coming into the first week of January, I do think that we have a high probability of actually breaking the range and having real resolution on this formation. Anyways, I forgot to check out a couple of Forex pairs. Let's go check out pound yen, as I like to look at this one quite a bit. So we got the bounce up. We didn't really get the continuation. Yeah, we didn't really get continuation from there, but longer term, I stick with what I've been saying. The high is in, and we're going to be heading lower longer term. But I think that this takes a lot longer. I don't think that we're just going to shoot down from here to like 138. It's going to take some time going sideways within this region between like 143.5 to 141.8 region. Maybe for like another month and a half, and then I'd be looking for it to come back down to like 138-ish region. Still think that this is another lower high over a long period of time, and massive hidden bearish divergence. It is going to be initiated. Let's go check out euro dollar. I'm bullish on this one, and I'm still bullish on this one. Actually, but a week ago, I did actually trade real dollars for euros, not just like trade on like a Forex exchange, but like took out money from my bank account and put into euros. And I do believe that this probably pops its way back up to 113 and probably 113.5 longer term. I think this is fine here. It's gain momentum, and weekly Stokes looking good. Weekly RSI also looking good for a short-term reversal. Anyways, let's see how GBTC did on the day. GBTC nasty. Wow. GBTC very bearish here. Wow. Holy shit. Fuck. Very nasty on GBTC. Very nasty. GBTC is very bearish. If GBTC is anything to go off of, we will go to the downside here. Not good. Again, not good. I think that's it for this morning. I won't be doing a Twitch stream this morning, but I will be doing one a little bit later today. Hopefully I can get my desk fixed before then, because now I just look like a floating head. Anyways, very, very silly, but that'll do it for now. Want to wish you well on this last day of 2019. Want to wish you a happy 2020 if we don't see each other before then, but we probably will. But all good, man. Again, reminding you that the programs are 20% off. Want to make sure that anyone who's interested in those has that information, because we won't be doing another sale for a long time. And I love you. That got some great response yesterday. I was completely lost for words, and it just came out. Well, you know what? It's like a drunk thought when you're sober. It's great. It's the truth. Anyways, much love from me to you. Even for the people who fucking hate my face. Well, you know what? I sometimes hate my face too. Fucking hate my hair too, man. Anyways, I'm gonna be signing off now. Take care, and until next time.